What is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for the OPTC video, and in today's video we're talking about the Pirate Alliance KIZUNA Clash vs Doflamingo and the 10-star event that will be coming on the 24th going to the 29th for the Super Boss Doflamingo. Now, if you guys want to check out the big Unga Bunga Super Boss teams that I did upload, I'll leave a little card at the top here as well as a link in the description for you guys, so you can go check that out for the 15-star event. But in today's video, I have a couple of one team versus all for you guys to take down the 10-star difficulty. Now, we are focusing on one team versus all because in the early stages of this particular event, you want to try and get this done as quickly as possible. The two boosted characters for this particular fight, obviously we're farming up for this Doflamingo character as well. He works very, very well with the 6+ sugar, but other than that, like, he's quite an interesting character. If you go down here, Barto is the big booster. He is going to be your captain, basically, and you want to try and bring a friend captain, Barto. Additionally, you do have Cavendish, and you have a bunch of these other characters. But basically, when you dive into the fight, you want to basically either use the suicide strat for the later stages, or you want to make sure you're bringing a Barto friend captain. That's going to get you the most Super Boss tokens, so that way you can actually build up your funds quicker. Now, all the teams, or the first 3 teams, are utilizing a Barto friend captain. I have 2 teams for you guys that don't use either Barto or Cavendish on the team. I have my big whale team that is 3rd, and then I have a cheeky little meme team after that. So with that said, let's take a look at the events. I'll leave a link to the Twitter in the description so you guys can go check that out for the infograph, and let's dive into the actual teams. Okie dokie, so this is the infographic that we have been given thanks to Bandai for the 10-star events. The first fight is Int, the second is Quick, and the third is Psy. Driven, Free Spirit, Cerebrals get their cooldowns for Int. Int, Quick, and Dex get their cooldowns for the Quick fight. And then Shooter, Free Spirit, and Driven characters get their cooldowns for the Psy fight. So basically, you want to bring Int, Quick, and Dex characters that are of the Driven or Free Spirit classes. Driven is really the big one because Barto boosts Driven, but you can use like Free Spirit strikers. On stage 2, you get 5 turns of defense up, 5 turns of Threshold, and 5 turns of Despair. That's basically what you want to get around when it comes to Stage 2, and the new Barto can actually take care of all of this. However, on Battle 2, there is a 20,000 death hit, so Barto works very, very well for this, but there is another character that works exceptionally too. For the infight, the boss is going to have immunity to everything except for additional damage, so it's not full immunity, which works great. It's just Poison, Venom, Progressive Poison, Delay, Ignite, and Defense down, so just everything but additional damage. 5 turns of paralysis, 5 turns of defense up, 30% damage hit, which is very, very annoying. Oh, hang on, it's percent damage of 30%. Yeah, so you take a 30% HP cut, so very, very annoying here. And then after level 30, it becomes a 50% or plus 50%, so 80% HP cut I'm looking at. And then 5 turns of attack down, as well as a 30,000 death hit. On the quick fight, there is, again, immunity to everything except for additional damage. Despair by 5 turns after socket, 5 turns of damage reduction, and after level 30, there's 5 turns of paralysis, and it increases by 1 turn of despair to 6 turns. On the final fight, the Psy fight, there again, immunity to everything except for additional damage, which is great because Shanks can shine here. Wait for that meme team. Reduce damage over a certain amount, which is Threshold, and attack down by 5 turns. And then that Threshold goes up to 6 turns, whilst adding damage reduction by 5 turns. So I totally read the information wrong. You can actually do all of those things except for the increased damage down. So, like, all these teams will still work, but the sort of teams that I had put up originally would actually work. The big changes was the one to Evan. I actually was using a team that didn't use supports. I think I had Crocodile, maybe. Oh, maybe I didn't have Crocodile. I can't remember who I had. I had an attack. I had the Sasaki. That's right. I had Arena Sasaki instead of Miguel and Hannibal. So that way you won't need to use the Law support if you don't have that. So that's another option for you. The Sasaki works great. You can bring the Sasaki back for this particular team for the Kid variation as well. And then with the Yamato team, you won't need the defense up removal. You guys will see what I mean when I start getting into the video. But basically, I just wanted to clarify that here because I'm a giant spoon and I do this stuff all the time. As I mentioned at the end of the video, I'm incredibly tired and I can't believe I stuffed that up. But enjoy the video anyway. One team versus all looks a little bit like this. So I haven't included supports for these teams. The first 2 teams that you guys will see don't actually need any supports, which is actually really, really nice. However, there are a lot of supports that you guys can add to these teams to make them hit just a little bit harder. But Kid is our captain, and for this team to work as it does, you kind of want Kid to be at least level limit break 3, so you get his captain ability that can actually remove the 5 turns of damage reduction when you actually tap with a super bomb slot. So very, very important that you guys have that, because his captain ability is very, very valuable. He becomes a driven captain, and as you can see, he removes 5 turns whilst tapping with a bomb or super bomb. So very, very important that you get that. On the team, we have, or actually, we don't have a way of getting his super class on this team. That's a little bit annoying. I thought we did have a way of getting his super class, but I guess we don't. I might have to tweak that. So it's a little bit frustrating, but nevertheless, we have Barto as the friend captain. Barto is going to take care of stage 3 for us. However, on stage 2, we're going to be using this Doflamingo. This Doflamingo is a free KIZUNA character. He removes 5 turns of defense up, as well as 5 turns of threshold. And then if you actually use this Crocodile, you can actually remove 5 turns of despair. Well, 6 turns of despair, actually, which actually works exceptionally well. Barto can also remove despair too. That works out pretty hunky-dory. But if you don't have this KIZUNA, what's his name? Doflamingo, you can look at other characters that can remove both defense up and threshold. So if we go here and we click on these 2 buttons here, we have a bunch of characters here. You have another Dofi. You have this Banero Blackbeard, but you do really want it to be 5 turns. But yeah, like as you can see here, there's not a lot of options to actually take this fight down unless you are using that particular Dofi, or you're using a Barto yourself. So that way you can set defense to 0 and then just remove the threshold. There is no, there is no defense down, like setting defense low immunity. So you can actually get around that fairly nicely with this particular setup, which actually works out quite well. Actually, yeah, there is immunity to defense down, which is a little bit annoying on the final stage, which makes Barto actually not that effective for the final fight for when there is defense up. But I don't think there is defense up actually on any of these fights. Yeah, over here there's defense up. So you will need a character that can remove defense up on the final stage, which is a little bit annoying. And that's kind of where Barto would come into play. So that's, yeah. That's a yikes. What you could also do actually, I think this Crocodile removes defense up, doesn't he? Yes, Crocodile removes defense up, so you could just double pop the, what's his name? You could double pop the special of Sasaki to remove the 5 turns of despair here. That's actually gonna do a lot better. However, could you also get another character that removes despair for this particular team? I think you probably could. Like, if you got, you could probably do this with supports as well. That's definitely another option. But if you have either of these Zoros here, you could easily just use the Zoros for despair removal. You have Judge, you have Buggy, obviously the Barto there. Ideally, you'd want it to be a Zoro character. That way you can actually trigger the super class of, what's his name? Of Kid. But I think everyone pretty much got this Zoro, right? Like, this Zoro was a free-to-play character if you guys were playing around the time. However, he only removes 3 turns of Blind and Despair. So you'd have to really use something like the Nami support to actually make sure that you get around 5 turns. And that way you can actually activate the super type of Kid. I think that's probably going to be a little bit nicer for you guys. And that way you can pretty much get around everything. Croc can remove the defense up on the final stage, which is going to be quite nice. He can also remove attack down, which is hunky-dory. He also removes despair. But with your Barto friend captain, you can pretty much remove all of this stuff as well. Finally, to get around the paralysis, we have Shiki. You do have to be careful with Shiki. He does cut your HP by 99%. But with Barto on the final stage, you are basically going to have damage null. So you don't have to worry about those death damage shots anyway. So that is actually going to be quite nice. He's also your orb booster, Kid's your attack booster. Utilizing Kid's super type might be a bit of a hindrance, and getting super bombs might be a problem for the first fight. So if you need the recovery orbs, you definitely can do that. With this particular team, it should work quite nicely. I don't know if it's going to be the be-all or end-all, but if you guys are missing the boosters, this is definitely an option for you. Alright, so the next team looks a little bit like this. I had to tweak it actually because I realized that there was defense up immunity on the final stage, so that's where we had those supports come in. I know they said that this teams don't have supports, but look, I lied. The first 2 teams now do have supports. But for this particular team, I do want to give a shout out to Evan. I do believe Evan on Twitter. I'll link his Twitter in the description. I was given this team by an Alliance member who is utilizing it, but I do want to give credit where credit is due. I do believe Evan did post this particular one without utilizing the boosters. So it uses Shiki as captain. Shiki does need to be level 3, level limit break. So that way you can actually get the 5 turns of despair in his captain ability. He boosts Dex, Int, and Quick characters. Works quite nicely. Obviously, he cuts your HP as well. And he gets a nice bulky attack buff when you do have him level limit break 3. Works quite nicely there. He's your orb booster for the team. You can also remove paralysis. Next, we've got Killer. Killer can remove damage reduction, which is super nice for this particular fight. He also gives color affinity as you are running a full driven team. To get around the defense up and the attack down for the final stage, you have this Magellan and Hannibal unit. They basically only do that. Like, it's pretty much all they do. As long as your captain's driven or striker, which they are both. And then we have that Doflamingo again. The Dofi is going to basically take care of stage 2 for us, and with the Despair from Shiki, we're not going to have any issues. We do need 1 extra turn of Despair, which is where the Law support comes in on Super Tandem Kid. Super Tandem Kid is our attack booster. He's also the chain boundary shenanigans, as well as giving us a Super Tandem ability if you have him level 4 or higher, I think. Because you can utilize him with the Killer, the free-to-play Killer. So this team's going to work really, really well. Obviously using a friend captain Bardo for the final stage as well. That way you can take the death damage. And yeah, unfortunately you can't get his conditional boost on the second stage, which is very, very annoying. But you kind of want his ability to negate the 30,000 death damage, and that's kind of a big reason why you want to kind of use him on the final stage. But you could probably use like damage reduction or something like that as well. With Shiki though, probably can't. Alright, so if you threw a lot of gems, or some gems, at the KIZUNA banner, and you managed to pull both of the rare recruits, utilizing a friend captain Bardo, this team's going to absolute bits. Versus Kaido is basically all of your damage here, and then you just get around all the nasty effects, thanks to Cavendish and Bardo. You can use 1 Bardo on stage 2 of every fight, and you're absolutely covered. And for the one where you get despaired, actually I think Bardo removes despair too, right? Yeah, he just removes everything on stage 2. Sets the defense to 0, removes the threshold, removes the despair. He's just very, very good for that particular stage. Then on the final stage, him and Cavendish will actually remove everything else. However, with Kaido, you do have to like tap or use specials in a particular order. You can use chain boundaries before you use Kaido. So what you want to do is you want to use your Blackbeard first. That way you get the chain boundary effect. And then you want to utilize the special of Heat and Wire. Now, the reason we're going to use Heat and Wire is just so we get the kid to trigger. But you're not going to need this until later down the line. Then you can use Kaido. Kaido will wipe away your positive buffs. Then you can use Bardo Cavendish for color affinity, conditional boost, all that nice shenanigan stuff there. So this team should work very, very well. I don't see it having any issues. We have some supports for more damage, and I'm probably going to use this for majority of the early stages until I start having to tweak the team to actually start doing some more damage output. But if you're a whale and you did a lot of summons, hopefully this team helps you out. And the final team is an absolute meme. We are utilizing Super Tandem Shanks as our friend captain. Shout out to my homie Porky and MI Alliance for this one. There's no full immunity on the final stage, so you actually can use Shanks just for the meme of it. Yamato and then Shanks as your friend captain means that you are going to get all of that fun stuff with stuff like color affinity, chain boost, the damage reduction effects from Shanks, threshold removal from Shanks as well, and it all works out pretty nicely there. Yamato's your attack booster. She gives you the damage reduction. I think you get verse abilities charged as well, which is just absolutely dumb. You can get around the despair and the defense up with Uta. She sets defense to 0, which is really, really fun, and then she also removes bind and despair. She gives you a chain boost. Because she gives you a chain boost, actually, you might not need to bring a second Shanks. This team, you can't run a Barto friend captain, but the double Shanks shenanigans is designed, like, you want a friend captain, so that way you can activate the super class, and that way you can make him into a strength unit. But Zoro can remove damage reduction. He can also remove threshold, I'm pretty sure. And then I think Shanks removes the defense up, right? Uta is going to basically be the... do you remove... No, you remove damage reduction and threshold. I don't know how Porky's getting around the defense up, but look. At the end of the day, like, this team is a total meme. It's up to you if you really want to use it. You could just do some fun stuff with, like, Kyoshiro on here. And that can remove 4 turns of defense up. You have like a conditional boost. Like, you can just do some really funky stuff, and I really wanted to include this because the whole meme of Super Tandem Shanks still remains strong, and it's actually a lot of fun. But there you guys go. Apologies that the video is so scuffed. I'm incredibly tired. And with KIZUNA around the corner, I've just been focusing too much on the Super Boss fights and basically totally forgot about the 10 star. So I will do some assist teams later down the line, probably tomorrow morning, and release them once the KIZUNA goes live. Might do some playthrough stuff there as well. But we will be streaming on Australia Day for me, which will be the day after, or after work tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped you guys out. If it did, bolt the like button. If you're new, hit the big red subscribe button. Do all that good stuff for me. Best of luck in KIZUNA. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.